Hi, I'm Ryan Wright.
And I'm
Jerry. Welcome to Reasons to See,
where we give you reasons to see.
and not to see.
The Last Exorcism Part 2.
So let's get exercised. After escaping the cult from the first movie, Nell Sweetser now tries to lead a normal life but is haunted by the demon from the previous film. And this time, the demon has an even worse plan for her. He wants to fuck her. Ryan's consensus! There are some reasons to see The Last Exorcism Part 2. There are some reasons to see The Last Exorcism Part 2. Yeah, I have a strong Catholic upbringing, so when it comes to this supernatural, religious, haunting type of stuff, no matter how weak the film is, they all scared the living shit out of me.
Jerry's consensus! As much as it pains me to say this, there's maybe one reason to see this movie.
There's maybe one reason to see The Last Exorcism Part 2.
You know, I really liked the first movie, I wanted to like this one, and it never did anything for me. I feel bad saying it almost.
Reason to see number 1, Ashley Bell. I thought Ashley Bell did a good job on playing Nell. She's really entertaining to watch, and besides being entertained by her performance, I believed her struggle. You know, she's this girl who comes from this farm life, who had an exorcism performed on her because there was a demon inside of her.
Yeah.
She's got a fucked up past, and then now she's trying to lead a normal life. And so she has a hard job with this role. I mean, that's a lot to tackle. Mm-hmm. And, you know, this person who's suffering from her past, or maybe is it a demon that's haunting her? It's a lot to do, and I thought she did a very good job on it. There's a lot of layers to the performance, and I thought she did a good job of layering it.
Yeah, I like Ashley Bell a lot, and I think she does a good job. And, you know, you just want to give her a hug a lot of the time, you know, because you know that she's lived a very sheltered life, you know, she's a simple farm girl, and now she's, again, put in a completely different world. I like her, and I bought her for the most part. I feel like anything the film succeeds at with Nell especially is pretty much a credit to her, just because I was so sympathetic towards her. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I think she's good. There are some moments, just because of the way that sweet farm girl delivery is, there are some moments where the movie doesn't quite match, and then some of her dialogue sounds a bit weird, but overall, and especially in the demon-y moments, I think she does a really good job.
Reasons not to see. The effects. I think the one thing I can agree on with you is the effects of this film are not the greatest. There's a moment where there's a lot of fire, and it does look very, even though I actually like that scene.
Yeah, it's a good scene, actually.
You know, it was shot really cool too.
Yeah.
But the fire did look really fake, and you'll know what I'm talking about when you watch it. It did look surprisingly fake.
Yeah, see, I almost don't understand this movie in terms of like what they must have done with their budget. Few of these scenes have any effects that are like complicated, and then on top of that there was CG. So I'm like, why didn't you could have just done some actual fire, you know, and then it would have been fine. So I don't really get what whoever did the effects was going for exactly.
Yeah, they look like effects.
Yeah, a little bit.
Split decision number 1, writing and directing.
I like the way the characters were written. Not all the characters, but I especially like the way Nell was written. I thought they had a lot of dimension to bring for her that allowed her to give such a good performance. You know, it's not fully met with its potential. I can admit that. The film is mainly ideas, and that are halfway met, but I respected the ideas, and I enjoyed watching the ideas, even though they're not met with the most potential that it could have been executed at.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I can give this movie, is sort of, if I were gonna rewrite this movie, I wouldn't change any of the ideas, I don't think, because it's very different from the first one, but I like that. Like, it has lots of really good concepts that I feel like it didn't do much of anything with in varying degrees.
Oh, I disagree. I thought, you know, watching the ideas unfold, like with her exploring, you know, what it might be like to have a boyfriend, what it might be like, you know, like getting the sexual, you know, vibes from her learning about friendship, all these other layers that they brought to it and allowed the movie to be more enhanced.
See, when I was watching, I feel like some of those things got off to a good start, some of them didn't, and nothing ever fully realized.
Yeah, nothing becomes fully tied in, nothing becomes fully realized, but at the end of the day, you know, it's to me it was just another low-budget horror film, and I enjoyed it, even though I really do respect the first one a lot. I love the first one. I think it's a great film. Just an overall, it's not just a good horror film, it's a good film. And this one, I just looked at it as a low-budget horror flick. And as far as a low-budget horror flick goes, I enjoyed it throughout.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is I've seen so many other low-budget horror flicks recently, I'm not trying to compare it to them, but there's a lot we've proven lately, especially what you can do with a low budget, and I sort of feel like this movie, they had like 4 sets and, you know, a couple cameras, and then they just made people stare at each other for a while, because like the structure is like people stare, then people walk, then something spooky happens, then rinse repeat. I get what they're going for, but it's like they didn't have any guts to go anywhere with it. They just said, here's a bunch of neat ideas.
Nell really carries this movie. The character of Nell carries this. On top of that, with the performance of Ashley Bell. So to see the camera just pretty much let the actor do the job and let her carry the movie, I respected that. It was kind of like watching even though there's several characters in it, it was kind of like watching a one-man show.
Yeah, except to me that didn't feel like a directorial choice as much as it felt like a lack of directorial anything.
You didn't find it to be like a character study in a way? Because I viewed it as sort of like a character study of Nell.
I felt like it wanted to be a character study, and it should have been a character study, but it didn't really study that much. It said like she's...
Yeah, it kind of just explores it a little bit, but it doesn't fully meet it.
It's basically somebody wrote you a letter home saying, oh yeah, Nell's doing okay, she's kind of seeing this dude now, she's got a job, she's had an episode every now and again, but we'll write back later. It's like, well, come on, like...
I totally get your point, and I just saw ideas on screen that I respected. I didn't expect those ideas to be there in this movie, so I respect what they were trying to do. And
see, I wish they had tried.
What I have to admit though is this: I had no expectations for this film. Even though these types of films always scare the crap out of me, I really didn't, because I heard nothing but horrible things about it. So I think if you have no expectations for this movie, I think you'll find it to be an okay film. But if you have even a smidgen of expectations, I think you'll be let down.
Yeah, I didn't go in with huge expectations, but I did go in thinking, like, it's probably not as bad. Like, I expected I would enjoy myself.
Yeah, I mean, the film is flawed. They don't tie in a lot of this stuff to the first one. They don't explain things that they teased at the end of the first one. So it's not the best of sequels for sure.
No. And there are a lot better sequels. The movie feels like it leaves all the actors holding the stick. It just, every scene sort of feels like, do something, you know?
I didn't feel that way. And you know who else didn't feel that way? Horror director Eli Roth. But then again, he produced this film. Split decision number 2. The horror.
See, I felt like all the jump scares in this movie and all the horror parts of it were just going, remember how cool the last movie was?
Yeah, I mean...
like, half the jump scares are clips from the first fucking movie.
Yeah, that just come at random with a loud noise. Yeah, I mean, the jump scares were cheap, but they made me jump, so...
I did jump a couple times, but again, it was one of those, it's like, and I'm not comparing it to this movie, but like, Paranormal Activity 3 has a lot of cheap jump scares, but every time they did them, I was like, oh, you guys, like, you're having some fun with this at least. And this one, it was just like, something normal is happening. Here's a clip from the first movie!
I like the mood of it, you know, like, the directing I thought with it, you know, created tension for me.
See, that was my other problem is that the tone of the movie felt like it was one thing the entire time, like, even the characters, the story, the tone, nothing ever breached just a simmer.
Well, the tone changes when Nell has having change in her levels of emotion.
Yeah, she's the only thing that changes in this movie, because every character has the same reaction to everything. Everyone just stares at stuff. I feel like the camera is just staring. That same blank stare everybody gives in this movie.
But I thought the horror was effective because it was layered with other stuff.
I guess. I mean,
because if it was just that one, I didn't find it to be just that one tone. I felt the tone changed whenever, depending on Nell's mood.
I guess, but see, horror, like, getting a heart rate up and scaring people, it all sort of rides on hope versus fear and how much you like these people. And it's like, I never thought that anybody would be able to figure this out or vanquish this demon, because the script never allows for anybody to get any headway. It's just like the demon bosses them around for a while and then it ends. Like, I never believed anybody could fight this guy, and so it killed all the horror for me, because I was like, it's all going one direction and it doesn't seem to try and convince me otherwise. Like,
see, I like the horror because the focus is Nell and Ashley Bell does a good job with it, so I don't want the demon to win. And because I don't want the demon to win, I was scared whenever it seemed like the demon was going to win.
see, the only time I ever got scared or anything like that was only because I like Ashley Bell.
I will say there's a scene where it looks like a demon's gonna go into chicken. We almost got a chicken demon. We did not get that chicken demon. Alright guys, thanks for watching. You can go ahead and tell us your reasons to see or not to see The Last Exorcism Part 2. And if you want to hear my straight to the point review of The Last Exorcism Part 2, go ahead and click on this link below.
And if you want to see more reasons to see reviews, click on this link right below.
And if you want to get the whole Real Rejects experience or just get updated whenever a new review is out, go ahead and subscribe.
Right there.
Subscribe or else a demon will haunt you. What would you do? Tell us below what would you do if a demon wanted to fuck you.
Yeah, demon sex. What are your thoughts?
It might be crazy. Might be a wild ride. You might float in the air. It might be an experience, man.
You might catch like a sulfur-based STD too.
Oh god, that would suck. What if a demon gave you an STD? There's probably no way to treat it.
Yeah, no, it just turns like whatever part of your body that is into rock.
Yeah, well, I mean,
It's just smoldering
would a
rock.
priest be able to get rid of the STD? I mean, how would you get rid of the STD? Tell us below.
Think about how awkward that would be too if you went to a priest for that.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, I can't explain this away. I had sex with a demon.
Father, it's been 4 years since my last confession. Well, what do you have to confess about? I had sex with a demon. I can't forgive you for this.
Yeah, I think God's pretty much written you off, son.
Yeah, you're going to hell.
Next.